Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our nostalgic or problematic series where we are chatting about Dawson's Creek, and we are on season 2. So, if you're new here, we do have this series where we rewatch things and then talk about them from our perspective now.
Correct.
Right? So, we are on season 2. We are on episode 8 already.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
And it is titled The Reluctant Hero. So, here is the summary.
Okay.
As a film festival prize fails to reunite Dawson and Joey, Andy sets out to help Pacey get his life on track.
Love it.
Yes.
Exactly right.
Okay, before we start going into the weeds here, I'm thinking, you know what I think we should do?
What?
I mean, not like we have so much free time, but we did 2 episodes last time.
Yeah.
I think we should start doubling up and doing 2
Really?
at each time. I do, because there are 6 seasons of Dawson's Creek. And
Yeah.
at this rate, it's going to take us 5 years to get through
It is. Yeah.
all of them.
I agree.
I think we can do it.
I think we can double up. Not today, but
No.
starting next time.
But I think we should.
Okay, that works for me.
Because, and I mean, these are easy to kind of like watch in segments. It's not like a movie. Although you watch
Totally.
movies in segments.
I do.
I can't do that.
I can't watch anything for longer
Sorry.
than like 40 minutes. Not because of attention span. I just
time.
Literally don't have time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. So everyone, we're gonna try that. Let's try it.
Let's try it.
See
Next
how
time.
it goes.
Maybe we'll do 9 and 10 together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was thinking last night when I was watching it, I was like, God, this is going to take us forever to get through this whole freaking show.
Mhm.
And we have other shows we want to do this with.
True. I mean, we talked about taking a break after season 2 and doing a different show.
Oh, we
coming
did?
back. Yeah,
I
potentially.
feel like we should keep going,
I know.
right?
Yeah, now that we're on a roll. So 2 episodes. Let's
Call
do
me
it.
Butta, baby, because I'm on a roll.
Uh-oh.
Troy says that all the time.
Really? What?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
To be funny, not serious.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
so let's chat. Here we go.
All right. So the opening, it's always Dawson watching a movie with somebody unsuspecting victim. And this time he's watching Mr. Smith Goes to Washington with Pacey.
Yeah.
And Pacey's because he's Pacey, but he's very snarky about Jimmy Stewart's character, right? So if you haven't seen this episode of Dawson's or that movie, it's an old movie with James Stewart as Mr. Smith. And it's a drama and it's a classic and all this. And you know Dawson, he's really into the classics. And so he loves that it has like this moral compass and like standing up. And Jimmy Stewart. And Pacey's kind of making fun of Jimmy Stewart, but basically saying, Dawson, you are him.
I know.
Like, that's why you like it.
But also no, because I wrote down, I love Jimmy Stewart. I love him. He is one of my favorite actors of all time.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
I'm serious. So do not, Pacey, compare Dawson to the beloved Jimmy Stewart.
Okay, fair enough.
Sorry.
Fair enough. That's all I had on that. I just thought that scene was cute.
Oh, also, before we move on, what happened to the one-word episode titles we had in season 1?
Weird, right?
I'm wondering if that changed originally or if that was when they moved streaming platforms.
And they had to change
or not even that, but just like something with
I don't know, maybe.
Or like later.
Because the theme song changed.
Yeah, and that didn't happen in real life.
No. But
like in the 90s.
For syndication / streaming syndication, the theme song's different for season 2
I hate so much. Makes me
I hate
mad.
it too. It's probably an okay song.
No,
but...
it's not. It's not.
Hey,
I need my Paula Cole back, everyone. Yeah. I know.
I don't even know. What did
I
they
don't
want to
wait.
I don't want to barrels. The new one.
I don't even listen.
Something in barrels. I don't
know.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Hearts and barrels. I don't know.
Hearts and barrels?
Probably not, but
maybe that's one of your true crime shows.
No. Well, maybe
Hearts
both.
and barrels.
I'm going to find it.
True crime shows, do they have theme songs?
No, it's just like ominous music usually. Like what would you even say?
I don't know because I don't watch that mess.
No, it's just ominous music.
Okay, let's see what I just had the one word thing. Jimmy Stewart. Okay. Poor Jen. 5 seconds in, she's drunk and climbing through Dawson's window.
Yep. I'm puking. Did she puke in that?
She felt like she thought she was going to. She had the phantom feeling of puke. That's the worst.
Oh.
When you feel like you have to puke and then nothing happens.
Yeah. And then Dawson says to Pacey, 3rd time this week or something like that.
Which okay, I'm going to say this. They're taking that way too lightly.
Mm-hmm.
Also, strict ass Grams. Jen's out drinking drunk at Dawson's every night. What is Grams doing?
Yeah, weird, right?
Like
Are we
she's
to believe that she's just checked out?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, that part's weird.
That's some weird stuff happening. But anyway, if your friend shows up to your house repeatedly drunk after going through some hard shit,
Mm-hmm.
guys need to get her some
Yeah,
adult help.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we've got the scene of Pacey. It took me a second to even figure out who Pacey was talking to, and he's with his guidance counselor, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Because like it was like dark, but it was like or was it, maybe it wasn't dark. It reminded me of him being in like a police station or something. But I guess it was his guidance counselor, and he's like,
Yeah.
"You're bad at this. You're bad at that. I didn't even know you could fail an aptitude test, but you did." And I was just like, "Okay,
I know.
this is a lot."
It was a lot.
But I mean, it had to set it up for Pacey to then like rise above as the episode went on. But I thought that was an interesting scene. Okay, so then Dawson gets the letter. Well, he's talking to his dad, who's at the house packing.
Which let's talk about that for a second. Because Mitch tells Dawson, like, oh, I just want to be your friend.
Yeah.
And y'all know from
I thought of you.
I know. But then Dawson validated what I was saying because he said in the end of the episode, Dad, I don't want another friend. I want a father.
Yep.
Which, guys, you got to be your kid's parent first.
Yep.
And honestly, I'm fine if my kids never think of me as a friend. You need to always think of me as your mother. Like, they should have friends.
The way you said mother reminded me of in Rent when she's
mother.
Like, no, when she goes, well, yeah, that too. When she goes, please call your mother.
Yeah, your mother.
You said they need to think of me as their mother.
But yes,
heavy on the R.
But yes, I just and you know what? Jamila agreed with me. We had a whole conversation about that. She said the same thing. She's like, my kids don't ever need to think of me as a friend. They need to think of me as their mom. And I mean, you can be friendly, but
of course,
you know,
you have fun together and all of that. But right.
Anyway, and Dawson said that at the end. Yeah, he did. Like, I don't want you. But I think that happens a lot though in divorced families. I know that my dad tried to do that with my sister a little bit because she was older. She was 18. Wait, no, 16-ish. When they separated and then got divorced. And I know he tried to like kind of be buddy with her, and she was not happy. I mean, now granted, sometimes you get a little spoiled. Like my dad had bought this is so standard, middle-aged divorced man. He bought a red Miata. Do you remember when those came out?
Yes.
My sister had a new license and she got to drive that thing.
Dang.
Now, if you want a quick way to be the favorite parent,
get a cool car and let your young teen drive it.
Yeah, because they had just come out. Like they were brand new. Littlest, most unsafe car ever, probably to put a teenager behind. Anyway.
But cute.
But I think that does happen a lot with divorced parents.
Sure.
Like,
yeah. And you wonder like how much is, and I haven't been that parent, but how much of it is your own grappling for loneliness.
Yes.
And connection.
Which is probably a lot.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, human nature.
It is.
It's gonna happen.
But anyways.
But yeah. Okay, so all I was gonna say is his dad then hands him this like piece of mail. Mitch hands Dawson a letter. He's like, oh, by the way, this letter came for you, which if y'all remember, cool stuff did come in the mail sometimes back in the day. Like stuff you didn't expect like this. But I was just thinking like this would never happen now. You would have gotten an email and like you would have gone on a website and like accepted your award. But the letter announced that Dawson and Joey, because she produced it, had been awarded like a Young Filmmakers Award in the state. And there was a check for $2,500, which I looked up. What that would be today. So $2,500 in 1999 would be about $4,550 now.
Whoa! But even $2,500,
I'd be happy with that too.
I got some bills that need that.
Yeah. I mean, but and the money was supposed to be to produce their next thing,
right?
But It didn't say it had to be, but that's what supposedly
Right.
they were sending it for, because they saw the potential and wanted them to continue filmmaking.
Yes.
So that's what it was for. But I thought that was really funny. So then I just wrote down kegs and eggs when Jen's talking to Chris and his friend, his little
Kegs
sidekick.
and eggs.
I was like, yes.
First of all, I keep saying first of all this episode. I don't know what's going on.
Second of all,
but whatever. All these high school kids with keggers, where the hell are the guardians?
Yes.
Like, now granted, I went to some keg parties when I was in high school, but this is during the school week.
Yes.
And it's it's every night. So apparently, supposedly.
There's a party somewhere. Yeah.
At
like
somebody else's house. It's not just like one house whose parents are in Costa Rica for the week or whatever.
Right.
What?
There's a lot of partying going on.
It's funny because like I remember watching stuff before I was in high school and before I was a teenager, movies and stuff. You'd be like, "Oh, our party's gonna be like that?" No, they're not.
They're awkward and loud.
I mean, I did go to parties where there was underage drinking. Sorry, mom. But they weren't like ragers,
right?
Do you know what I mean?
I do. I totally do.
So
and
crazy.
Certainly not in high school. I can remember some house parties I went to in college.
Oh, well, college,
when I was still underage. So I was in college, but I wasn't old enough to legally be drinking. That were like crazy.
I mean, college parties are exactly what you think they're going to be most of the time.
But that's because you don't live with your guardians or your parents anymore. Right. So you are just kind of like independent.
And you're living in communal spaces where there's a lot of you.
My husband and I were just talking about that this morning. We were talking about college in general. I said college is funny because, well, my son just turned 18 today, so this is why we were talking about it, and like his future plans. And I said it's interesting because on one hand, it's a great idea to have all these young people in each other's space, learning together, and like growing up and becoming independent together. But on the other hand, it's a recipe for disaster. Because this is the first time any of them have done that.
It's almost a social experiment.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like, we've deemed you as a society old enough to handle all of this at once together. And you can ask each other for advice and like in your little peer group. It's surprising that it actually does go okay for so many people.
You know what? It's so funny when I think about college because like Troy and I had very different experiences because, well, we both went to college when we were 17.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which is wild. We both partied a lot, but the difference was and Troy actually had to leave school and go enlist in the military for a while because he messed up so bad in school. The difference for me was that I put school first. So I would literally plan my whole schedule of classes so I could take the bare minimum hours to be full time.
Yeah.
Serious.
Yeah.
And I got my assignments done early so I could go out. School came first for me. So I graduated magna cum laude. I did graduate a little bit later, but I would go to school in the summer.
Yep.
And school came first. But I still had plenty of time.
But you used it like to adjust to the like life you wanted to lead around it.
And Troy just did not. He would say this. I'm not throwing him under the bus, guys. He just was like, he just didn't go to class.
That's Brant too.
Yeah, he just did not.
He didn't actually finish college till he was 29 or 30.
Oh yeah, Troy was 26.
He had to go back a couple times.
Yeah, we always talk about Tommy Boy.
Oh yeah,
where David's face, where he's like, it takes a lot of people 9 years to finish college. And he's like, yeah, they're called doctors.
Yeah, exactly. Are you a doctor?
But yeah, I mean, I think it's just so dependent on the person.
It really is. And like in the case of my son, like we're not sure which direction he wants to go. But like for us, it's like if he would rather be home and just take a few courses locally or even drive back and forth to UCF a day per week. And then later on be like, oh, here's where I want to go or this is what I want to do. That is fine.
Oh yeah.
Like also just work for a while, like whatever. Because that's why we were talking about it. We're like, it's not great for everyone if they're not ready.
It's not. And I mean, I think it's crazy to think everybody has to go to college anyway. I think that's crazy.
That's also,
I hate that narrative. Like I think it's very funny because Troy and I both are from families of college graduates.
Mm-hmm.
Both of our parents have degrees or multiple degrees. A lot of them went to grad school as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting that I have such like a different opinion because he grew up in a house that said everybody goes to college.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a house that said everybody has to go to college, right?
Yeah.
Like y'all, that wasn't even a question. But I never want my kids to feel like that.
Right.
Because everybody doesn't have to go to college.
Right.
Hello. I know so many successful people that have not gone to college.
Oh yeah. And
like, do you know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah.
The one thing we do tell them though, like if you do decide not to go to college, do find a way to further yourself. Like go to a trade school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like find a skill to hone into, find a job you can learn in.
Even like technology stuff now, you can take coding courses through
Yes.
Google.
God, yes, further yourself.
You can do certificate programs that are a couple months where you're just like, this one specific skill I would like to learn. Yeah. And so you learn it.
Or find an apprenticeship you can learn, like work while you're learning a skill.
Absolutely.
So there's, anyway. Okay, I don't know. God, we are on tangents today.
We are on tangents today. So we were talking about,
where were we?
I don't know. Oh, kegs and eggs. Oh, I said there was a Luke Perry joke.
I missed it.
All I put was Luke Perry joke, but it was something to the effect of I want to say Dawson was talking to Jen maybe about she wanted him to go to the party and he wasn't going to go, and then later he decided to go to the party, and he said like, I'm not Luke Perry or something like that. Yeah. Because Luke Perry was the bad boy.
I did think it was
90210.
Yeah, I did think it was funny how they kept showing Dawson at the party drinking a Coke.
Yeah, I wrote that down, and it was clearly a Coke.
Like they made sure to be like, Dawson's the only one not drinking, everyone at that party.
Don't worry.
We ever would have thought anything else of him at this point.
Don't even worry.
Because there are episodes to come where.
Yes. And then there's a part, the little scene between Jack and Joey in the cafeteria where they're in line for food, and he's like describing all the food different ways, and it's so funny. And at the end of it, they make plans to hang out, and Joey says, oh, is it a date? He said, it's not a date. It's a dat. It's a dat.
That's so funny. Me too. Okay, I do have a few things before that, though.
Okay, what you got?
So I did appreciate when Jack was apologizing to Joey for the kiss.
Mm-hmm.
But then he kissed her again later without consent. But fine. Also, that red sweater he had on with the stripe.
Yes.
I totally had that.
Love it.
Okay. Then, okay, this is something I noticed about Joey. Y'all have the same kind of hair. You and Katie Holmes.
Oh, I guess we do.
Hers is shorter than yours.
Yeah.
But as I was watching it, I was like, her and Katie have the same kind of hair.
We do.
Like, color, texture.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
Weird. You're right.
I know. It was just something random.
I love that.
And then I was like, when Andy took that stand for Pacey in the cafeteria.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, you go, girl.
Yeah, that was sweet.
I like that. And then also the sweater vest she had on with the stripe. I also had that.
So cute.
I had both of those items. I think I even have a senior picture of me in that sweater vest with the white collar shirt over. I swear, I'm going to have to find it.
I love that.
I'm going to have to find it. All right. So back to the dat. That made me laugh. I read that down too.
And then as soon as he sits down, Jack, like right after that conversation, the first thing he says is, I have a date with Joey.
Oh, I know.
And
Pacey's like,
he's like, sorry, man. I know Dawson's your friend. And then Pacey's like, yeah, I'm just going to stay out of it.
He's like, this is awkward.
But then Andy was happy for him, which was cute.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, that's great. Or whatever.
So Jack is a year younger, right? That's what I was trying to figure out.
Figure that out.
They're not twins, but I think he's a year younger than them.
Be.
Yeah,
he might be a year younger.
Okay, so then Dawson, I wrote, Dawson so annoying showing up on Joey's doorstep with a check.
Really?
I thought he was so annoying in that scene.
Not because he brought a check, but just in general. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Just
when he showed up with the check.
Yeah.
I thought he was so annoying in that scene.
He was. For sure.
Okay, so you agree.
No, I agree.
But then I wrote, ha, 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 like a bunch of ha's when he stomped off to his
After
canoe.
He sees Jack.
Or not canoe. Why do I always say canoe?
I say it too.
I know.
Rowboat.
I think you said it first.
I did.
Rowboat.
I planted it in your head.
Yeah. He stomped off. Let me go back to my boat.
Yeah. Well, did you hear the music playing then? It was like saloon Western music. It was like, ooh. But then later on in the episode, Jack references, he's like, it was like an old Western. So I was like, oh, they did that on purpose.
That was dumb, though.
That was dumb.
That's dumb and unnecessary.
I didn't like that. Okay, so is Mitch living in the warehouse he bought?
Yes.
Okay. I was confused about that.
They didn't really, they never like
but
said
that's what it looked like.
Yeah,
the couple times they showed it. Okay.
Which, I mean, okay. But let's just talk about Dawson's dad in the V-neck shirt. That was nice.
That was good.
You knew I was going to say that. You knew it.
Really, really.
But then I put Mitch living in the warehouse, sad.
I know. I said Mitch packing, moving out, and then into his new place.
Look, let me show you my notes. I wrote Dawson's dad in the V-neck t-shirt, occur. And right after, Mitch living in the warehouse, sad.
I know, right?
It was so sad.
It made me sad too.
It was so, but also, if you looked like that back then as a single dad, you ain't gonna be single for long in that warehouse.
No, just save your money, live in your warehouse because you're not gonna be there long.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a quote. What your next note? Do you want to do it?
No.
This is a quote from Jen when she's trying to get Dawson to go to the party.
Right.
And he's kind of like, she's like, don't worry. Like, it's not because I like you or whatever. And she's like, you're way too far gone as a rebound case for me. I just thought that was a funny line.
Why does she even want him to go anyway? Like, obviously he is not.
Honestly, I thought it was because she can sense that he's sad.
Right. But like Dawson is like not exactly a fun person probably to have at a party. Why would you want him to come along to a kegger with you?
Close up of him drinking the Coca-Cola.
Like we all had like those friends back in the day where it'd be like, oh shit, what's her face is coming. Great. Because it's like a kind of a wet blanket situation, like a Debbie Downer. Right. We all had people in our circles that you were like,
right.
There was one sorority sister of mine. I will not name who it is, so y'all can just guess. But if you were in my sorority, you will know who I'm talking about. Who was in my little circle, and we used to really not like when she would come to parties with us at fraternity houses because she would get so drunk and somebody would have to babysit her all night. And I was like, that's the opposite. Like, because you'd probably have to babysit Dawson a bit because he's going to be whiny about something. So with it, he would.
Not because he's drunk, but
not because he's drunk.
You're going to have to hold his hand a little.
And she was also like a sad drunk, so she'd cry all the time too.
Oh.
Yeah. She eventually got past that, but
Yay. Good.
I mean, I think.
We hope.
I hope.
Hoping the best for her.
So speaking of Jen, you know how she was like ready to go out and she had on like that 3/4 sleeve business shirt?
Yes.
I also had that shirt.
That was a cute shirt.
I also have a picture of me on New Year's Eve on Bourbon Street in that business casual attire. Also,
it was a thing.
Why did we wear business casual crap as going out clothes?
We did from like 98 to 2002 or something.
What?
We really did.
We look like we were going to meetings.
I know, but we were
going to the club. Or the kegger.
Or the keg and eggs.
Which that's not exactly comfortable attire.
It's really not.
You cannot get low, nor do keg stands in business clothes.
No.
Actually.
Yeah, I mean, you could.
It's just not choice
we
wear.
Did.
It's just not choice wear.
Not choice. No.
Oh my God. Okay.
So the next thing I have is on Andy's mom.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
And I just put a sad face and just said just a reminder that people can look and normal and I shouldn't say normal. Yeah. People can
look like nothing's wrong.
Look like nothing's wrong. And have issues underneath, especially when it's a younger person, meaning like a younger adult. Again, she doesn't have dementia per se, but portraying those types of traits, that their body may seem completely functioning. Like she was gardening when she was having her little episode about, oh, Pacey, I'll make you a sandwich. And but then all of a sudden, it's too bad. Is it Tim? Yeah. It's too bad Tim's not here. He's really good at that. And that's like the moment where you're like, oh, she's having a little episode, So it's just a reminder. She's having a hard time.
That was so sad. I just wrote, Leah, I have later when they're in the store and Pacey's talking to her. Oh, sobs. And look, sobs.
And I know that they set it up this way when the guidance counselor's like, you're terrible at everything. because then when you see that scene, you're like, he's really good with people. He's good at de-escalation.
Mm-hmm.
He's good at like making people feel good. So right away in your head, you're like, no, he's good at stuff. Look at him. You know, he's doing what no one else is apparently able to do in this situation.
And that's what Andy ends up telling him.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh, but speaking of Andy, another nostalgic thing I wrote down, her turquoise iMac.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
cute.
come on. I remember the first time when I moved out of our dorms and moved into an apartment, one of my roommates, Catherine, she got one of these. She's a graphic designer. That was her major. And those were a big deal, guys.
Yeah.
And she had to have one for all the design stuff they were doing. And she got it. And I was like, oh my God, it's the coolest thing. And then a computer lab in the education department, because I was an education major at that time, they got a grant or something.
Mhm.
And so we had a whole computer lab filled with them.
Nice.
But I hate working on iMacs, and my brain could not, like, I had the hardest time shifting because we had to like make websites and like stuff. My brain on an iMac, still, I have a PC to this day but I have an iPhone, but that's different.
It's different. I had one.
You did? You had one of those? Was it turquoise? Remember there was four?
Red.
Yeah, there was four colors. It was turquoise, red, blue, darker blue.
Was it green?
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Might have been.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, because one of the things I had when I went to college was part of my scholarship included a computer. Whoa. It wasn't like a full scholarship or anything, but
that's
like whatever I was getting. And I remember my mom and I talked about it, and she's like, you can do a PC or a Mac. And my mom worked for a publication at the time, like a magazine.
Yeah.
She was just like an admin for them or something. But she was like, oh, you should do a Mac. And I did. And I used it like all through college. Yeah. But and I did have to take a few design classes.
Do you have a Mac journalism
now? Oh. But I would like one.
Oh,
I had one for a job a couple years ago. I had a MacBook, and it did take me a little while to like get acquainted with it, especially because then in my personal life, I was using like a regular laptop. Right. And then when I wasn't with that company anymore, I had to send it back, and I was like so sad.
Troy loves his.
And we just got one for my son for his birthday, and I was like shopping for them, and I was like doing the math. I'm like, all right, should I get one for myself? Not today, because I'm buying a whole other one for another person, but like doing the math because I would really like to get one.
Yeah,
again.
Troy loves his. He's had his forever.
Yeah.
And like, my shit breaks all the time. And he's like, it's because it's a PC. And I'm like, no, it's because it's me. But
well, and like what I loved about it a few years ago when I had one is it does sync with your phone if you want it to. So like my texts I could look at on my computer, like you're just everything that's happening on your phone is also on your laptop.
But I need that not to happen. I don't like I don't like everything being all connected. I hate it.
That's fair too.
That's why I don't have an Apple Watch.
Yeah. Like mine broke and I didn't get another one.
Yeah. I
was like, meh.
And let me tell you, from a group fitness or even personal training sometimes, those damn watches get on my nerves because with the rings and I tell people, like, I got you, not your watch. Like,
right.
I'm here with you and I'm a human. I got you. Don't worry about what your watch says. Because by the way, they're not 100%. I don't care what they tell you.
Right.
They're not 100%. So I will make sure you're doing what you need to be doing.
Right.
Get off your watch. And then it's just, I feel like it just has, it's no different than looking at your phone constantly. Like people look at their watch constantly. And I don't want to be reachable all the time.
Right. When I did have an Apple Watch, which I had really for about
I don't remember you having it.
It broke not that long ago. It was in
Did
the
you
fall.
just like never wear it?
No, I wear it most of the time. Yeah.
I don't remember.
But then once it broke, I just was like, meh, I'm good. I got mine during COVID, and so I was walking a lot and things like that, but I didn't have it synced to my phone.
Oh.
So like my texts wouldn't come through unless like basically I would just turn the Bluetooth off on it so it couldn't. But if there was a situation where like I needed it to or whatever, I would reconnect it. But mine I purely used for like standing and calories and movement and all of that. But kind of like you, when it wasn't working anymore, I was like, I don't want to track any of that anymore. Like,
yeah, because you get hooked on it and it just becomes.
And I understand, like, it's good to be aware, of how much you are doing those things, or if you're not standing enough. But I'm like, I wore it for over 3 years. Like, I'm aware. Like I've formed the habits now, or I'm just gonna be like, yeah, so what? I sat for 3 hours recording a podcast because like I need to get it done, or I had work calls, or I'm just exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine, But I think for the awareness component, it's fine. But I just got to the point where I was like, I don't really need to know all those things all the time.
Yeah. All right,
Anywho,
whatever. Wow.
Moving on.
Don't know. God, we are
Where are we?
today.
Hello. I put
Ah.
Jack's lightning story where they're eating the fries and drinking the soda, and he talks about how lightning struck right in front of him, and she was like, "Oh my god, that's terrifying." He's like, "No, it was so cool and fascinating," which whatever. But then I got really annoyed because she's like, "Oh yeah, Dawson and I tried to be Benjamin Franklin when we were kids." But like the way he got mad about it bothered me.
I know.
I mean, I get it. Like, don't bring up your ex, but she wasn't bringing him up in the context of him being an ex. She was bringing him up as like, this is something that happened as children.
Yeah. Well, and they grew up together, like
right. And so for him to be like,
I know.
Ugh, you're talking about Dawson again. I'm like, not really though.
Yeah.
Like this would be like if you're like, oh, my sister and I, blah blah blah. Like that's I don't know. That bothered me. I didn't like that.
I didn't even write that.
And then, I said Dawson taking a big swig of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Which you already mentioned when they go to the party. Yeah. Or he ends up going with Jen.
I did say, I while I was watching towards the end of the episode, I was like, I just realized like Jen can be kind of triggering for me because her whole like self-destruction and like seeking approval, but viewing it as fun. I totally did that back. I mean, I was in college. Well, I would say high school too. I went through a little bit of that. You're like, oh, I'm just having a good time. I'm just having a good time. When you're not, like, I can look back now and be like, I wasn't really having a good time. I was looking for approval. I was masking.
Yeah.
I was trying not to deal with what was really happening, like, which is all the things she's doing. And I was like, oh, I don't think I realized that was triggering for me until right then.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think in general that's developmentally appropriate in some ways anyway. Oh, yeah. But certainly because she's dealing with so much. So I, towards the end of the episode, got annoyed at the storylines of this episode that Pacey saves the day with Andy's mom, and then Dawson saves the day, quote unquote, with Jen.
Yeah.
And that they just, and even like Jack sort of like commandeering some like of the situations with Joey. I just felt like the men in this episode were just like right about stuff, and the women
needed help. Yeah.
They needed their help, or they wouldn't, like, Andy couldn't get her mom home, and Jen, was, and then him interrupting like her thing, oh, you're about to like make out with 2 guys, and I'm just like, I see both sides. One, she's a child still, and 2 men can be dangerous. And one man can be dangerous.
And those guys were being creeps.
They were being creeps.
I mean, and they made that clear by what Chris said to Dawson. Like, when he was like, Jen's a good friend to have around. Remember?
Yeah.
And he's like, she's down for whatever, however he said it.
Right. It was disrespectful.
It was very much, he made it very clear that he was waiting for her to be drunk and ready to do whatever. And he was trying to tell Dawson, because then when Dawson comes in, he goes, Dawson, come play.
Yeah.
Which,
gross.
Also, question mark?
Yeah.
Because
yeah, right.
But I mean, whatever. But
yeah.
Why would you think Dawson was going to come join in a threesome?
Hello. Him and his Coca-Cola. Would you even want that?
Right. I mean, I don't. Anyway.
But I mean, so that's what I mean. Like, it was probably an unsafe and non-respectful situation for Jen.
Yeah.
But just the way that I felt like it was dogpiling. Oh, that
you're right.
Was a terrible term to use. But I felt like maybe stockpiling.
Okay.
That might be better. It was just like the men saving everything, cut to this scene, that I was just like, this feels gross.
Very like, I'm the savior.
Yeah.
White man savior.
Yeah. Yeah. Although, like, I really appreciated what Pacey did, and obviously Dawson was helping his friend, is just, I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way.
What would have been a better savior in that party situation was if Joey was at that party and she saved Jen. That would have been better.
That would have been better.
I mean, not saved Jen, more. But helped her
as a friend.
I don't want to say saved her.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway.
So I really didn't have much else. Did you?
The only other thing I wrote was like they finally did show some real effects of like teen drinking, where she was like puking and drunk and like getting herself into unsafe situations. But I felt like they waited. It's only because it was like her bad girl moment.
Right. And you needed Dawson to save her.
Right.
For the plot line.
Right. So it's like, oh, well, only when there's bad. I don't know. I still just have issues with. I feel like that is a problematic thing in this series continuously.
It's the glamorizing of those things.
Yeah. Also, Jack, again, problematic, kissed Joey without her consent at the end of their date.
Yeah.
And it was awkward. It did not.
That was weird.
It was a weird screen kiss. They should have refilmed that. I'm serious. He was just like, mwah. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But also, no, sir. You did not say, can I kiss you now? Is that all right?
Right.
So I was proud of you at the beginning of the episode, not proud of you at the end.
Well, it's like actions speak louder than words.
Right.
So your words were great.
Right.
But then you follow up with an action. Unless, and this is just maybe what the writers were even thinking, he was apologizing because was he apologizing more because of the situation?
Yes.
She had a boyfriend
and not
so. Because of the consent.
I think so.
And at the end of this episode is a different story.
It's like, oh, the boyfriend's gone, so I can just do what I want.
Right, which is not good. But I'm guessing that's why it was okay in the anyway.
Boo.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to start doubling up on episodes because that worked out great last week.
It did.
And then you can, and if you still just want to listen to one at a time, you just do a little pause in between. Come back later. No worries.
Do a little pause.
Do a Katie watching a movie. Pull one of those and
I do that with podcasts. 4
segments. I do too.
I do
too. I'll listen to 10 minutes in the car, 10 minutes later, a little bit when I walk my dog, and eventually I get to the end.
Yeah.
Unless I'm in a huge cleaning project, then I need like 4 podcasts in a row. Although you told me to listen to that Handsome podcast, and I walked longer.
I know, because they're
with
so
my
funny, right?
To like finish.
I know
the first episode,
and you went all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah, I've only listened to the one so far.
Wow.
So I'm gonna listen to more this week. I went to the start.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Oh,
really,
I love
really
them.
good.
They're so freaking funny. They get funnier. That's all I can say.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know how.
Oh God, they're so good. I was listening to their latest episode today. Like the 3 of them together. Have you ever watched any of their stand-up?
No, I don't know any of them.
Oh man.
Like outside of the show.
So they all 3 have some comedy specials on Netflix.
Okay.
All 3 very different styles, which you probably picked up.
Yeah.
Just you'll have a grand time watching it.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Fortune just came out with a recent one. And then Tig actually has a documentary from a few years back where she so she actually made, I don't want to tell you too much because I want you to watch the documentary because I think you'd really like it. She announced she had cancer at a stand-up show of hers.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But she did she had a whole documentary about that process, and then her adoption journey and IVF and like with surrogates, and then how she met her wife. And it's really good.
Okay.
Anyway.
I'll have to check that out.
So yeah, thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah, thanks for listening here, and we'll see you back on Dawson's Creek or a normal episode.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.